When it comes to your mornings, are you in charge of your day or are you just getting up and letting the day take charge of you? Well, I have some very strong ideas about this. We at our house spend every morning doing something, and even with our children, called the morning good stuff. And I cannot wait to talk to you more about that, what it entails, and to basically get started on our wonderful show again called Beyond Face Value. And so I want to start things off today with welcoming back to the studio our co host. Hello, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm talking to you from my home studio in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and really happy to be here. I'm so happy we're in it again, and this is a great topic because when we talked about this before, you mentioned you want to talk about this in our pre-production meeting. I just thought, what a great thing you're doing, and I can't wait for you to share what these strategies and these tips that you're going to share with our listeners and viewers. But it also influenced me even when I was thinking about it when we were about to record this episode because my morning was getting away from me today. So
Right.
I want to be reset with your advice.
So, again, this is Laura Lewis Edwards. And the reason why I think this is going to be such a great topic today is because she has been all about health and wellness for many years. This is a passion for her. She has written books. I mean, this is what you love to talk about the most, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, living your best life, every moment of every day, remembering that we're here to live and live an extraordinary life as much as we can, and we can get caught up in the craziness and the drama or whatever else can
Yeah.
distract us. But it's really important to remember that we're in charge of what's going on up here. We're in charge of that part. We can do that. And there are a lot of philosophies out there. Uh, they talk about, the monkey mind taking over
Right.
and all that. And
Right.
and I think it's just a real basic thing that we can address.
I agree.
And absolutely, I'm passionate about it. And let's dive in.
Absolutely. Well, you know that for me, the reason why we even started this podcast was really to allow me a space to talk about living your legacy and not just leaving one. And how better way to start that off by every morning with intention. And I think a lot of people just, they go to bed, they wake up, they kind of roll out of bed, a little grumpy, a little upset that they're even having to get the day started. And they kind of never, with intention, create their mindset around the positive things and the possibilities that they can do every day. And Stephen and I have done a ton of research on, what things do help you in the mornings and to try to change your mindset into a very positive place. And so probably for the last 5 years, we have really gotten into, even with our personal family, this thing that we call the morning good stuff. And it
And
doesn't,
Stephen, and I got to jump in.
yeah,
Stephen's your husband
yes,
or
yes.
fiance or your main man,
He's my
and
main man.
he's your main guy,
He
and
is.
you've got a whole brood
We
in your
do.
home
We
that
do.
you and I'm so impressed, and I can't wait to talk about this because of what you guys started doing 5 years ago.
Yeah,
It makes me wish I had done something like this with my kids way back. Now
absolutely.
they're older, but to allow that, I did some other things with them that were mindfulness oriented, but let's talk about what you guys discovered. I'm
Absolutely.
curious, Dr. Jill, I'm curious even where you guys came up with this and what was the beginning or the impetus of it?
Well, I had to think back just right then when you were saying that. I was like, wow, how did we kind of start this so strongly? It was during COVID, believe it or not. That's when we all got together and started to share our home and raise our children together. And we had a lot of time on our hands because we are both dentists, and so we both had our offices closed. And so we now were in a home with basically five of our six girls, and we had a lot of time to research and meditate and walk and really get into that space of how can you have a positive mindset during all of this craziness that was going on in the world right then. And we thought, what better way? We have some time. Let's create some tools and really teach our girls and have some discipline around it every morning so that not only when they got back to school again, but when our other girls were almost ready to go to college, that even when we sent them away from us, had we given them some type of tools, some type of discipline, if you want to say, to approach every day with positivity and looking at the possibilities of what could they accomplish that day. And so that's where we came up with the morning good stuff. And why we did it that way is because we don't feel like everybody needs to do exactly the same thing. I don't do exactly the same thing that Stephen does in the mornings. The girls don't do exactly the same thing every single day. But what we did is we created a list of about 20 things that they could pick and choose from. That way we weren't dictating what they needed that day. And so that way there was some choice in it, right? Because we all like to have choices, and teenagers for sure do not like to be told what to do every single day. But we gave them the
Mhm.
parameter that as soon as they get up, before they grab their phones, because we do have them leave their phones downstairs and charge, and they are not allowed to go upstairs with them and be on them all night long. But before they even could go back downstairs and get their phones, they must do at least, most mornings, it's 20 minutes of good stuff. And they can choose between whatever they want to do. They usually split it up into about 5 minutes apiece. Stephen and I do most mornings something a little bit longer, usually around 40 minutes to an hour. And if we have even longer days where we can do longer stuff, then we do. And but it's just really getting in that routine and getting into that discipline of having that positive mindset to start the day off right.
Yeah, it's really amazing. I mean, just imagine thinking about and visualizing the typical teenager that rolls out of bed during COVID. What time is it? Like noon? I don't know. Even us as adults, we didn't have our routines either. So trying to figure that out was a challenge, and it really was challenging for many, many people. And I understand the impact of those days, is continuing to resonate with children and college students and that kind of thing that live through that time. So having these tools to be able to choose. So let's talk about some things that are on the list for the morning good stuff. But before we talk about that, I'm curious about what was their reaction? What was their response when you presented this to them? Did you guys have like a group meeting and you say, okay, here's what we're going to do? And how did it go?
We did. We do a lot of family boardroom sessions, okay? When we really need to have a deeper conversation, we call the board meeting, we tell them what time it is, we tell them how long it's going to be so that they can get it kind of wrapped around their heads. We put the phones away, and then we have our little meetings and we talk about it, and we talk about the science behind it and why. And of course they're still teenagers, of course we still get the eyes rolling and are you kidding me, we're gonna have to do this. But I'm just telling you, over time, especially our daughters that are already at college at A&M, when they get a little off and they have, let's just say, been lax of doing their morning good stuff, and we're talking to them on the phone or texting with them, and we say, have you been doing your meditation, your affirmations, have you been doing something? And many a times they'll say, no, I've kind of haven't been doing it lately and I need to get back at it. So we are seeing the fruits of our labor, if that makes sense, that when you teach and kind of train them when they're with you at home, and you can kind of guide them and watch a little bit and make sure it's happening, once they get away from you, it really is a beautiful tool for them to use and get back to.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what are some examples on the list?
Absolutely. I mean, for me personally, I can tell you that almost every single morning I journal for a little bit. Now, I may have something that prompts me for a journaling time, but we do know scientifically that it's very good for you to write and just to kind of free write of whatever's on your heart and whatever's on your brain. So, of course, there's lots of journaling. We have the girls' journal. It can be prayer, it can be meditation. We also have the girls write I am statements sometimes. And for teens, I think this is really important because there's a lot of little voices, well, even as a woman, little voices that go around in your head that tell you what you're not, right? So
Mhm.
it's really great to sit and write 15 to 20 I am statements because if you say, I am pretty, I am strong, I am well, I am healthy, I am smart, I am, all those kinds of things, and just write it, write it, write it. If you can write more than about 10 or 15, it gets a little bit deeper and a little bit
Mhm.
stronger, a little bit more into the heart. And that's really good because if you can change those voices in your head from being, positive from being negative, I think that's very beneficial. I am
No,
statements are very
I
good.
I agree. I mean, negative thought patterns or negative thinking can be addictive. Family systems may or may not realize it, but they're influencing the thought process of the entire family. So let's say that everybody's used to complaining all the time, and you see that this is a pattern that might exist in a family system. A small family could be just two people, could be friends,
Right.
but paying attention to that and making sure that you're not sliding into reinforcing those. I like to call them, we have these neural pathways in our brain, in our subconscious mind. And there's positive and negative, kind of like a life script that we build over time. And that's really where habits are formed too. I know you agree with this, Dr. Wade. But to be able to break the pattern of the negative thinking and to do that just by simply writing down those affirming statements that I am wise, I am loved, I am, I'm attractive, or I'm
Absolutely.
healthy, instead of going down the vortex of that negativity, of complaining and reinforcing the negative stuff. Because if we're constantly reinforcing with negative thoughts or listening to what other people say and then continue to go down that, how's that going to work out for us for the rest of our day, right?
So
What's going
true.
to happen? And that's why I think that when you become mindful or conscious and utilizing these fabulous tools you have implemented in your family, which honestly I think is one of the healthiest things I've ever heard in a family being established, with the morning good stuff. Establishing these wonderful habits is going to really set a beautiful precedent
Mm.
for that positive thinking for the rest of their lives. And
Absolutely.
yes, we're all human. And yes, we
Absolutely.
can forget. And we go, oh yeah, that's right.
Right.
Like I got to tell you, this morning, my day got away with me this morning. I had a conversation last night with one of my kids that took me down a little bit of a vortex,
Mhm.
and I was just like, oh, so worried as a parent,
Mhm.
and lost a little sleep. And this morning, waking up, but you know what? I got a brand new puppy, got to go outside, right away. She's 16 weeks old. I go stand out in my backyard. I look up at the sky, look at the mountains, take a deep breath, big
Right.
stretch, and get grounded back into the
Absolutely.
present.
Absolutely. And you just hit on two other things sometimes that are in that list of 20 that we talk about. It's like go outside, literally go outside. If the sun is rising, super amount of science out there that shows our brains and the way our hormones start to function. It's super great to be in the sunrise in the mornings. It starts to reset our circadian rhythm. So sometimes we say, literally, go outside for 5 minutes, look around, be observant of nature, listen, smell, feel the sun, feel the wind. And so that's actually one of them. And you also, man, I can't even remember exactly what you said, but you hit another one as well. And so we have journaling. Some of our girls are very, they don't love to write, but they do love to color. And so adult kind of coloring books and things like that, they can color and draw or doodle. Anything with their hands that they want to do, they could do that. And then we have all the physical things. So we could go outside and walk for a few minutes. We can stretch. We can do yoga. Um, Anything that really puts yourself in, like we just said, the mindset of being positive and having intention of having a good day.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, for example, the breathing, like breathing and doing something like I don't know if you've heard of this one where it's called the 7 breath
Yes.
technique, where you take a breath in for 7 counts, you hold it for 7, and you exhale, and you do it 7 times. And this is supposed to reset everything, reset your nervous system, reset your brain, and get you back to the present. And it really can help calm everything down. I also
Absolutely.
love the idea that you're presenting too about going out and just being outside. If the sun is shining and the resetting your circadian rhythms and getting you into that more natural biological space that we need to be in as human beings. But also the sun is vitamin D. We're going to be making vitamin D in our skin.
Absolutely.
And when we're exposing ourselves to sunshine in the morning, before those dangerous rays happen, stimulating vitamin D can help us in many ways. I mean,
Absolutely. And
vitamin
I think we're
D
going to do
has
an
even,
episode on vitamin D here pretty soon,
oh, oh,
which is
don't talk
great.
about it, Laura. Don't talk
But
about it right
no,
now.
but
But
that's
it's
just
that,
it.
yeah,
It's like everything we're talking about here on the Beyond Face Value show is incorporating and influencing each other. There is not just one thing for health, wellness, and beauty. It is a multitude of things, from both the physical to the mindset to the emotional to your experience with others, like your kids, and having community. And, you know, there is no one set thing, but living your life with intention so that you're living your legacy and not just letting it all go by so that whatever happens to you happens, and you're just in the end, you're just given whatever you're given. Like, I just don't believe that that's the way this world was meant to be. I don't believe that. And I believe we can have more fun and more creativity and enjoy the people around us so much more when we do this with intention. And this morning good stuff concept is the way to start every single day, because we can have some really, hate to say it this way, shitty days sometimes. You can have some
yeah,
really bad things happen to you, right? But to
right,
reset, because every day that you wake up, every day that the sun comes back up and you're getting to witness that, it's a new day. You can't
yeah, it's
change
a
what happened in the past.
right,
You really can't even always change what's happening in the present moment, but you can change the future. And you can change the future by having intention to, even if something really, a bad conversation just happened, because you have intention to control what you can control, which is how you think about that conversation, then you
right,
literally just changed your future because you
yeah,
chose how you want to move forward.
exactly, exactly,
And
yeah.
and
I,
when you do things like this with your family and with your kids, you're doing
mhm,
it by example as well. So we get in there and we do the morning good stuff with the girls. Sometimes we're in the same room. We're in the big room in the living room, and we may not be doing exactly all the same thing. Like I said, this is your choice. This is what you get to choose, that your body and your mind is telling you that you need today. But sometimes we choose to do it together, and we'll sit and there's 5 or 6 of us doing yoga together, for 10, 15 minutes. And it's rather bonding. It's funny. I mean, we laugh sometimes, and sometimes we just wake up and start the day together, and that may be sometimes the only part of the day that we actually are all together because of busy schedules and busy things that are going on with school, and we may not all be together that night for dinner, but we can be together in the mornings.
isn't that amazing? So for somebody to start implement this into their family system, I mean, how young can you start this? That's a question. I mean, how young were
Mhm.
your kids when you started, and what are their ages now again? And then,
So our youngest now are 15. So all of us started it in quotations with the morning good stuff when the youngest were about 10. But
mhm,
Stephen had been implementing different parts and pieces of this. He hadn't kind of like curated exactly what he was going to do with them almost 5 years before that. So they're
mm,
really never too young. It's just that the list of things that they get to choose may seem a little different when they're younger, right? But I
right,
mean, you can still stretch and and start to do yoga positions and things like that, real gentle ones, very young. And again, it's just a mindset and a way of life, right? That's how you
Mhm.
get started. And so first things first, you call the board meeting, that you call the family board meeting and say, hey, we're going to talk about this. And the way we got some buy-in from them was having them help us create the list to choose from, because
Lovely.
when they have some input into what the choices are that they want to choose from, you'll get some more buy-in.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love that. And also, like, what about getting up earlier? This
Oh, we
entails
do.
setting the alarm or getting up earlier, right?
Oh, yes, it does. We have daughters that are on varsity volleyball and track and cheer, and they practice most of the time in the morning, so they have to get to their practices and things sometimes by 6:30. Our girls typically wake up around 5 o'clock. We do 20 to 30 minutes of morning good stuff. Then they must eat something in the mornings. Then they can
Mhm.
return back up to their rooms to start getting ready, for their day from a physical standpoint, changing clothes, putting on their makeup, doing their hair, and things like that. But until the morning good stuff, see, we prioritize it to be first.
Mhm.
And so
Right.
that priority and that importance of it is, I believe, what happens. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's not so easy every day as a parent. Like, you've got to believe in your heart that this is the best thing for them and for yourself. And then you've got to hold the frame. That's what we call it. Maybe some days you don't feel like getting up and doing your morning good stuff, and that's okay. But you're also leading them, and you're leading them by example. And sometimes it's more powerful than the words that you use with them. Sometimes we don't say a word to each other in the morning during the morning good stuff. We're just in the present room together, and they see us by example leading them to do the same thing.
I just love this. I think you need to write a book on that. I really do.
I've told Steven to. I told him I just can't seem to get there, but maybe someday.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
I'm just gonna tell you one other thing that I think is really important with this whole concept. And have you ever heard of the RAS, the reticular activating system? Have you ever heard of that word?
I don't think so.
Okay. So the reticular activating system is how we input information through our eyes and into our nervous system. Okay, so it's called the RAS, reticular activating system.
Okay.
One of the reasons why we feel like the morning good stuff does so much for you, not just in the morning, but throughout the whole day, is that we, our brains were built for us to be protected and to survive. They were not built to make us positive and happy. They were built to keep us, to understand that the tiger was coming at us and it was going to eat us if we did not run away. And how were we
Mhm.
going to run away the fastest? That's what they were built to do, but they weren't built to make us happy. We have to train ourselves to be happy and to be positive. So all day long, we go around this world and millions of things are getting input into our brain through our eyes. I could look at the background right behind me. I see a building. I don't really see it, but I see it in a reflection. There's a building back there. I see a blue car. I see a green car. I see cars driving past me. I see green grass, all those kinds of things. Am I consciously thinking about that? But do I know it's there? I know it's there. It's going into my eyes. It's going into my brain. I've got lights shining down on me. I see all of that, but I'm not thinking about all of that. My reticular activating system is basically filtering and monitoring things for me to tell me what's safe and okay and what I should notice and not be okay with. So, for example, if somebody walked in the door and didn't look friendly and looked like they might come to hurt me, I would immediately hone in on that, right? That would be not
Mhm.
positive. That would be something that should scare me or something that should concern me. And I would then do something different, right?
Right.
So the reticular activating system gets triggered all the time, and it puts us into fight or flight. And fight or flight, if you stay in your nervous system with fight or flight all day long, this is what can turn you into a very negative thinker. because you're
Mm.
focusing on the negative and not the positive, because the reticular activating system on purpose and was built to make you focus on the negative, not
Mm.
the positive. So you have to consciously think about being positive. And so the morning good stuff makes you have intention to think about the positive first thing in the morning and hopefully throughout the day. That
Wow.
is why this is so
I had not
powerful.
heard that. I had not heard that. I know that I'm very familiar with the stress response.
Right.
I've had some stuff happen in my life that caused me to have high levels of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. And when a person does experience that, more of that type of thing earlier in their life, it does. And I see how it would correlate with that system because of the activation happening with the higher levels of cortisol, which would happen when you see the saber-toothed tiger. And it gives you that adrenaline to run away or fight, the saber-toothed tiger, elevating your blood sugar, causing, all crazy biochemical stuff. So that's a thing that is very important to be aware of. Um, and it's fascinating because now at this stage of doing so much work that I have personally done to make sure that I don't activate that, that I have to be conscious that I am one of those people. And I joke and I say, I'm one of the crazy ones that goes out and looks for the butterflies and the clouds and to find the beauty in which is that's the part of being mindful. So I think that with the morning good stuff routine or selections really does pivot the brain away from that activating the RAS to get you into that space of paying attention to the beauty in life, paying attention
Absolutely.
to the positive, and retraining your brain, making sure that you don't slide down into that worry or negativity
Right.
vortex that is
Right.
correlated with survival. Wow,
Right.
I love that. I
Yes,
love
it's
that.
the world of gratitude. That's what we're always talking about. You have a choice.
Yeah.
Every day we have choices and we get to choose how we want to focus. And we want to focus on gratitude all the time,
Yes.
right?
And
All the
and one
time.
thing this is a little side note, but I do have it on my notes to talk about meditating. And sometimes
Yes.
people think, oh, to meditate, you got to be perfect, you got to be able to get in that space
Mhm.
that, you've seen, people meditating for 30 minutes and they're in the lotus position and all that. I am a type A individual. And I say I meditate like a type A person. I think probably it would be great for me to meditate longer periods of time. But you know what? I do my very best.
Right.
And my meditating might be 10 minutes, might be 5 minutes. It might be where I just turn on some music, close my eyes, do some deep breathing, and go into that place where I become more mindful of where I am in space. I don't have to
Absolutely.
be perfect. I don't have to do the long thing if I don't want to. So that I think that doing bursts or short little meditation periods for
Absolutely.
myself has been so very helpful. Where I made it part of my morning routine, where I have a variety of things that I do. And this is one of them where I'll put on a little bit of music, I'll close my eyes, and I'll do my little type A meditation, which I do some breathing, I pay attention, and reset my system for the day. So
Absolutely.
just really wanted to mention that just because,
Absolutely.
you know, I'm
Meditation's
sure some people are
definitely
like,
on
oh
the
my gosh,
list.
I could never meditate. What are you talking about? I've
Right.
even had clients, which I've worked with mindfulness with clients. I've got this certification in clinical hypnotherapy that I've used a bit throughout
Yeah.
with my clients. And, I've even done where I go, look, if you can't get away, go in a closet, a bathroom, or your car, if you got busy life, children everywhere, and go just sit in your car and close your eyes or somewhere private just for 5 minutes. And then you can do your breathing and get yourself back to center. And that's a great skill to have,
It
to be able to
absolutely
do that
is.
anywhere.
And take a break during the day. If you find yourself getting off track, take a little break. Do the breathing. You can call it meditation, you can call it breathing, you can even call it prayer. Like
Right.
whatever it is, it's going to calm your nervous system down. That's what we want to do. Well, I'm going to leave us with this. I think this is a great thing to remember. I don't even know who the author is of it. I will not take credit for this, but it's where your attention goes, the energy flows, and the results show. So I want to thank you, Laura, for being here on the show today with us talking about our wonderful ideas about morning good stuff. I am sure we could talk about it all the time. I'll post some pictures at some point of us as a family doing that in our home, and just kind of share with you that this is real life every day for us, and hopefully you too will find that it's beneficial for you. If you love what you're hearing on the show, please share this with a friend, and maybe you parents can get together and everybody try it at home with your children and see the results that will come with that. So once again, thank you for joining us on the Beyond Face Value show. Also, to help us grow and expand our reach, be sure to like and subscribe to this show on YouTube or your favorite podcast platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever you prefer. Just remember, it's time to live your legacy now. I'm Dr. Jill Wade, and this has been the Beyond Face Value show. Until next time.